Top 10 royal family lies exposed to the public. Starting off with number 10, tax fraud. The family has been exposed numerous times and has been dealing with a number of issues, one of which is tax fraud. The late queen was once exposed for concealing her embarrassing wealth from the public, which may or may not come as a surprise. It was alleged that Queen Liz's private attorney pressed ministers to modify proposed legislation to prevent the public from learning about her shareholdings. Even though the Queen's actual holdings were never made public, we can only assume that they were obviously in the hundreds of millions of pounds. Invested at least $13.1 million into offshore tax-sheltered funds located in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda, according to Newsweek. Party leaders and anti-monarchists investigated the Queen's finances, specifically her private funds, the Duchy of Lancaster, and discovered that the Queen is evading taxes on her $680 million duchy by $15 million. On to number 9, cheating scandals. The multiple cheating scandals coming in at number 9 on the countdown. Realizing that the royal family has existed for tens of thousands of years has resulted in numerous scandals involving cheating. The beloved future king Prince William was once the subject of speculation. Rose Hanbury, a friend of the family for a long time, was one of the alleged partners. According to reports, this took place while Kate was expecting Prince Louis, the couple's third child. Yikes. Rose, Kate's best friend, reportedly attempted to steal her man during all of this. It is common knowledge that Kate and Rose had a terrible argument, and an insider asserted they used to be close, but obviously that is no longer the case. After the incident, Rose was removed from the social circle by Kate, and William made an effort to settle the situation between the two women. However, when British socialite and food critic Giles Corrin posted the following tweet, "Yes, it's a love affair, although I have not read the piece, I am aware of the affair. Darling, everyone is aware of the affair." The tweet was taken down as soon as it was posted because Corrin has a history of causing trouble. Even though a number of royal experts have also denied the allegations over the years, the general public continues to be curious, especially considering that similar rumors first surfaced a few years prior. In 2017, it was reported that William had a romantic dance with two women in Switzerland. He was dancing so wildly that I had to do a double take when I first saw him and thought it must be a lookalike, said one club goer. But everyone soon found out that they were having a party with Prince William. What are your thoughts? Do you believe Will is dishonest? The apple appears to fall relatively close to the tree. A lesser-known cheating scandal involves Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, in addition to Prince Charles's well-publicized divorce from the late Princess Diana. Throughout their lengthy marriage, there were rumors that Prince Philip was caught cheating on Queen Elizabeth. However, there is no direct evidence of this. The most significant of these rumors is that Prince Philip had numerous encounters with dancer Pat Kirkwood. The palace never confirmed or denied this. Kirkwood was a British stage actress, singer, and dancer who appeared in a lot of dramas, cabaret, revues, music hall, variety, and pantomime shows. She also sang and danced. The Pat Kirkwood Show debuted on BBC television in '54, making her the first woman to have her own series on British television. Well, I suppose Philip has a thing for successful women. On to number 8, marriage struggles. Princess Diana had thrown herself down the stairs in an effort to get Prince Charles's attention because she was struggling with her mental health. It was common knowledge that the royal family did not want any information about their own mental health issues to be made public because they thought it would make the family appear weak and vulnerable. Because she was pregnant with Will at the time and was so depressed, Princess Diana made this attempt at self-harm in an argument so that Prince Charles would listen to her. I'm sorry, but I hope that Princess is at peace. Sadly, Charles did not respond much to it and completely dismissed the circumstance. On to number 7, interrelations. The royals really like to keep it in the family. Everyone talks about their family tree, but it resembles more of a wreath with the number of times the relationships wrap around. Scholars are likely to focus on the positive changes that Queen Victoria brought to the British Empire during her time in power. Even non-history buffs are familiar with the Victorian era, which lasted for 63 years and 216 days. What is Vicky's lesser-known fact? She married her cousin. On Victoria's 17th birthday, when she was heir to the British throne, the couple first met. They were introduced by King Leopold I, their uncle. Albert and Victoria say in their memoirs that they fell in love almost immediately. That's kind of gross. And 9 children were born to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, including 4 boys and 5 girls. The cousin-loving gene was passed down because it resurfaced as recently as Queen Elizabeth. In contrast to Victoria and Albert, the romanticization of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth's relationship did not sufficiently overshadow their relationship. Through his maternal side, Prince Philip was related to Queen Victoria as a great-great-grandson, and through her paternal side, his future wife was related to the same queen. As children, the two met at family gatherings. The first occurred when Philip was 13 and then Princess Elizabeth was 8. They met again when she was just 13 years old years later. Although they did not begin a physical relationship at the time, they began writing letters to each other, and Prince Philip was 18 years old, which seems kind of old to write letters to a kid. Indeed, royal DNA sharing has probably occurred on other occasions, but royal spouse sharing is an intriguing aspect of royal life. Princess Anne, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, had a relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles in 1970. Andrew later wed Camilla just a few short years later. Camilla wed Charles in 2005 after having a long affair with him while she was married to Princess Diana. To put things into perspective, imagine your sibling getting married and you both share the same ex. Weird. However, sibling hopping, which has undoubtedly occurred in the royal family, is even more bizarre. Given their turbulent relationship, it is impressive that Charles and Diana were married for 15 years. However, Prince Charles started out by dating Diana's sister. Diana's sister Sarah, whom Prince Charles dated prior to starting a relationship with Diana, actually introduced the future couple. That information about the new king is odd, even though it is neither illegal nor technically incorrect. On to number 6, hidden family members. While most of the royal family is on display like an art exhibit gone rogue, there have been moments throughout history where they try to hide the regal members they don't deem adequate for the public eye. Prince John was the youngest son of King George V, the Queen's grandfather. When he passed away at only 13 years old, we didn't hear anything about him again. The young boy reportedly had epilepsy, and the royal family used a familiar tactic to cope, hiding the child from public view. Royal biographer Christopher Wilson has documented that some family trees entirely leave out Prince John's name. If they feel they have somebody that isn't up to snuff, they want to write them out of the history books, which happened in Prince John's case, Wilson said. However, this wasn't the first time the royals had hidden away family for the sake of a public image. Nerissa and Catherine Bowes-Lyon were first cousins of Queen Elizabeth. They were each born with mental disabilities and were hidden away at the Royal Earlswood Institution for Mental Defectives at ages 22 and 15. Their family also reported the girls passed in 1961 to hide their existence from the public even further. Catherine and Queen Elizabeth were born in the same year, but because the family had little to no understanding of navigating mental disabilities, they lived incredibly separate lives. Nerissa lived another 25 years after being initially labeled deceased, and Catherine only perished in 2014. Crazy to think about the people who are supposed to love you most abandoning you for something out of your control. On to number 5, the extensive travel budget. There is more to the royals' family large travel budget than just their wealth. It puts into perspective how careful they must be when traveling, as one trip in 2017 cost $5.8 million. A few trips these royals have taken in the past few years came with an outrageously priced bill. Charles and Camilla have somehow managed to spend $530,000 on a tour they took through the Caribbean. Other trips that were pretty pricey were trips taken by Will and Kate, estimating around $130,000. I need to somehow find a way to go on these trips. I know they have a blast. I mean, how can you not if you're spending hundreds of thousands? Just in case you haven't noticed, they're very careful of the public persona. They feel like they have this sense of responsibility to the public that funds their lifestyle. If they were acting reckless, they probably wouldn't have as much support, so that makes sense. It's funny when the paparazzi tries to catch them in awkward moments. Thinking about being absolutely perfect and delightful all the time just feels so exhausting. Do they still have to act perfect if they lose their luggage at an airport? I know a lot of us would be fuming. If this family woke up one day and decided to become savages, that would make major headlines, and honestly, I would want to tune in. The once royally perfect family goes savage. That's a whole YouTube video right there. Number 4, getting away with their scandals. This family has been involved in scandals for generations. Being knee-deep in controversies is not a good look for the representation of Britain, but they somehow managed to pay the news outlets to run stories that promote them in a good way. I mean, they managed to be so perfect that people sweep their complete wrongdoings under a rug, which, might I add, has to be a huge rug. No one is obviously perfect, but the extent to which the royals have been exposed for the controversies is so out of pocket that it's actually shocking. And the fact that these news stories have not at all gotten as much attention as something as mediocre as Meghan and Harry leaving the palace is crazy. Political correspondent Nadine Bachelor Hunt argued that the royals are becoming increasingly out of place in contemporary society due to the family's past and present scandals. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Number 3, the family does more harm than good for the economy. Despite the money produced by the monarchy, the royal family is pretty expensive. Back in 2018 and 2019, they cost taxpayers $86 million. That was 41% more than the previous year. How does it make sense that there are thousands of people in debt, but the funds towards the royals are increasing, showing where their money goes? Many agree that the education systems would benefit from this wealth more than old people born into the crown. Not only does the system cost the British public money, but they're also unable to choose which ruler will come next, leaving taxpayers with no power over the system that takes a huge chunk of their money. If you compare the wealth earned by the royals to the people of the country, it drastically changes the picture. The typical earnings of a full-time employee in England falls at £31,000, while the Queen banks around $42 million for doing whatever exactly it is that she does. Being born into the monarchy means you will never endure the same struggles as most people. They have no financial worries and aren't expected to work a 9 to 5. The majority of society works hard to achieve a somewhat comfortable life, while others are handed it. Number 2, the royal responsibility workload. At the end of the day, royals are humans too. They didn't ask to be born into wealth. The late Princess Diana and Meghan Markle are proof that the spotlight can be terrifying and toxic. Even though the royals may be lucky to have a luxurious lifestyle, this attention can be manipulated when needed. For example, the royal family could release unexpected news to remove negative attention from another member of the family. As the British public has no say in who becomes the next monarch, there are many situations that leave people unhappy with who rules. An example of an inadequate leader would be when King Henry VI was crowned at the age of 9 months. He hadn't lived a year. How is he expected to possess the maturity of running an empire? This obviously is not the current case. However, it shows how much control we have in terms of the royal family. If a ruler is deemed unfit by the general public, they cannot be voted out. Problematic royals have historically been difficult to remove from positions of power. Another factor to consider is that King Charles was crowned at 73. In the UK, the average age of retirement is 64, meaning you receive a pension, not having to work anymore. Should he really receive the title when he is almost a decade over the age of retirement? And number 1, racism. They've literally had so many racism scandals, it's crazy to think they've gotten away with it, regardless of them being part of a royal monarchy. The most recent inappropriate and tone-deaf situations that had happened were when Princess Michael of Kent recently caught the media's attention for wearing an inappropriate brooch to the Queen's Christmas luncheon at Buckingham Palace. This piece of blackamoor jewelry fetishizes images of slavery and is considered dated and racist. This definitely had people wondering why she would wear it, especially around Duchess of Sussex Meghan. Another problematic example was exposed within Oprah's interview when Meghan admits that there was a conversation about how dark Archie's skin tone would be. Prince Philip had a history of making racist, tone-deaf, ignorant, and overall offensive comments stretching back nearly 40 years. With many instances that highlight his behavior towards other cultures and ethnicities, here are a few examples that he should have known better than to say or even think. During a visit to China, he recounted Beijing as being ghastly and joked about British students becoming slitty-eyed if they stayed there too long. It seems like Prince Philip would have benefited from a few lessons of anatomy. He poked fun at the kinds of food Cantonese people traditionally eat and once asked a native person if they still throw spears at each other. Well, we can only hope that the controversies Prince Philip started helped the other members of the family to educate themselves on cultures around the world, especially if they plan on continuing to travel globally. But that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like, comment your thoughts on this family, and subscribe to our channel for more juicy royal updates. I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.